Welcome to What No One Knows, the podcast that tells the secret behind the published books, hosted by Lisa Marie Garcia, the Chief Operating Officer of Now Publishing, a full-service book publishing and author PR firm. Through the years in the publishing industry, we've heard the statement over and over, "This is what no one knows," when we interview would-be authors wishing to tell their story. This is what this podcast is all about. And now to our podcast and our host, Lisa Marie Garcia.
Hello, this is Lisa Marie Garcia. Thank you again for listening to another episode of What No One Knows. Today we have I'm going to call her a rock star published author. And the reason that is once you hear about what she does and what is in her book and how she got to be this published author of her book, Body Alignment for Life, you'll agree. So let me tell a little bit about Loretta, but first let's welcome Loretta McGrath. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Great. All right. Well, Loretta is an entrepreneur with more than 20 years of experience in the health and wellness arena. She designed and created multiple health software programs focusing on range of motion, assisted stretching, and body mechanics. She has developed and created a range of motion techniques called dynamic body stretching, DBS, and she serves as an adjunct faculty member at Cortiva Institute in Tampa, Florida. We'd like to talk about her book, Body Alignment for Life, and check in with this author. So Loretta McGrath, again, thank you for being part of our show.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I want to talk about and just start with when you came to interview with us, and this is now just a couple years ago, and you were on that fence of, okay, you have all of what you've been doing in the West Coast and what you've been building and your business and your software program, all of that, and you had your book ready to go. But can you share with the listeners of how you took that step to become a published author and how you would possibly encourage people that are in that same place right now?
Well, every single time I thought about I needed to share this information with someone or people, and I think that would benefit them, I would write it down. And it took me 9 years to kind of build up the book that I had. And I really didn't know where to go or what to do on how to publish it. So it was just kind of going out there, and a friend of mine introduced me to Now Publishing, and it was the right timing. And I just kind of enmeshed in the whole experience. And I'm just so glad that I've gotten this book out and it's out there helping people.
It definitely is. And, you bring up what we all know in theory, but it really is that factor is it was the right timing. And, thanks for sharing that it was, a 9-year journey. We have worked with authors that have said, I've been writing this book for 30 years. Then it is about the timing. And I know you, so you're very perfecting. Things have to be right. Things have to be what you share. And as we dig deeper into what your book's about, you have a chiropractor that reviewed your book. You have doctors. You have other mentors and people that you are well respected in your industry. Going over your book and making sure it's right. So that's a process. So
right.
Yours, happened to be 9 years. So I'd like to I'd like you to share, how you even came into health and wellness, and what was your why to even put you in this career, and then led to your book publishing for your life.
How long do we have? Just kidding. So my father was always into fitness. So when I was younger, that was kind of the only thing that bonded us was lifting weights. I was about 5 years old when I started lifting with him. And all my life I had been into, fitness or sports. And I was about 20 years old and I just didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And I just remembered I loved working out. And so I that's when I just kind of ventured on that path of being a personal trainer and being able to, help people. I had been pretty educated, all along, because that was something that I was very interested in. And, everybody wants to lose weight and everybody wants suggestions. And so it kind of, boosts my self-esteem that I could actually help people. But then I really got into the assisted stretching my clients, and that in turn got me really busy because most people were not stretching their clients, and I had other people's clients come and just get stretched by me but still stayed with them. So that really kind of made me a commodity in the facility that we worked in. And then before I knew it, I was, stretching people and kind of really seeing imbalances in their body, but I couldn't really tell them exactly what I was, we're all very visual, and me trying to explain to them that, your rear delt is, really tight because of this movement or whatever. So I was dating a programmer at the time, and I said, I have these images in my head. I need for them to be on paper, and I need to have the process be like this. I didn't know that I was developing a software program. I just saw these images of imbalances in the individual, and I would correlate them to colors. So that's how I would keep those patterns in my head. And I don't know if you understand this, but if you see the book, you can see a full body person with different colors in the muscle. And the colors mean something. Yellow is hypermobile. That means beyond normal range. Green would be a normal range of motion. Orange would be tight, and red would be very tight. And so when something was very tight, I would color it in my head red, and so on. And that's what I did with the software, and it really allowed me to understand the current physical health of my clients before I took them out on the floor, before I did rehab with them, and it helped me, be a better trainer and more knowledgeable about the individuals that were on my table, so I could tailor each program for them, and help them get out of pain fast, because most people are just guessing. They don't really know what's going on with the individual, because the body works as a whole unit. So if you're not looking at the whole unit, then you're only putting a Band-Aid on an injury or a pain. So a lot of times shoulder pain is coming from the hips, or the ankles not being mobile while they walk. So there's a lot of different patterns that you can view from the software. So that's kind of how I built that.
Your book, well, and your book is so unique. You brought up the idea. I mean, it's a full color, 8.5 by 11, amazing book where it needed to be in color. Because as you said, I mean, you're showing I don't have the right terminology because I'm not you, but, you're showing the serious, issues versus the green. And since you did bring up, and when we met you, you had this software programming, where can people look into that software program?
It's called bodyalignmentforlife.com. So it's the same name as my book. So basically what the book is my software on steroids, because it really walks you through on how to assess yourself, or how to assess your mother or your friends, and so you understand why your lower back hurts, because your hip flexors are really tight. And these are the exercises that you need to be doing. These are the myofascial release exercises you need to also be doing. So it really kind of holds your hand on how to heal yourself at home. A lot of people go straight to a physical therapist or straight to a doctor to get surgery. And I'm trying to educate people on there's very simple things that you could be doing if you understood where you were physically. So there's just a lot of information for people that are in pain, and they want to heal holistically. So that's why I created the book.
It's so I have a question because you were saying about how this helps people. So when people come and they see you and they do have pain, do you have a simple trick that can kind of help them, or how do you handle that entire situation?
Well,
Someone for the first time.
yeah, if somebody comes to me with, let's say, to be honest with you, I mean, out of anything, if you took a tennis ball and rolled out your feet for 5 minutes a day, that would help that would help take away a lot of pain in the body. Fascia is all through your body, and it is connected to every single part of ligaments, tendons, and they all connect to the feet and all the way to the edge of the skull. So if you're massaging the bottom of your feet, it actually is loosening up the entire body. So if you want to test that, then you kind of bend over and test your hamstrings and see how tight they are. Then roll out one foot and then test your hamstring again. That hamstring, that foot that you just rolled out, will be way more flexible than the other one that you didn't roll out. So that shows that just rolling out your feet loosens up the fascia. So that's one thing that I always tell people. Even if you can't get down on the floor, you can roll out your feet while you're sitting in a chair. And it'll help with knee pain. It will help with back pain. I'm not saying that is the end all be all, but if you're going to just have one, tip, that's actually a very, very good tip for individuals. Especially if they're sitting at their desks all day and they have back pain, they would be surprised if they rolled out their feet, how that back pain would go away.
Right. And especially now, right, with the hopefully we're coming out of the shut-in, I mean, a little bit more, but just all those, hours spent in front of laptops, spent in front of TV, spent, at home, not outside physically. Have you seen, some changes or, some increases in people's pain areas kind of because of lack of being out?
Yes, definitely. I think a lot of us are sitting at home and, doing our best to stay healthy and watching TV or, a lot of people working from home. We have a lot of people that come in that are just in excruciating pain. And so we just teach them things that they can be doing at home, with simple tools. A simple tool like that tennis ball, foam roller, even a broom, stretching your pectorals and shoulders, taking a broom and just holding on a little bit wider than your shoulders and bringing it all the way up and over your head. That's really creating more space in the pectorals, which is the chest muscles. Because when you're sitting, you're constantly, your arms are forward, which makes your chest very, very tight, and which in turns pulls your neck forward, and which in turns creates very much weakness in the upper back, and then your shoulders start to hurt. It's a domino effect. If one muscle is imbalanced, the other one has to kind of pick up the slack, and then when that one gets weak, then the next one goes. And so it's just kind of keeping up on them, making sure that they're, supple and mobile and have mobility in the joints is really the main thing that I think that people need to understand. If it's, if they're in pain, chances are the fascia in the tissue is very hard. And once that gets hard and sticky, then you have no mobility in that muscle, and then that connective joint has no mobility. And I'm sure people are saying, well, what is fascia? Fascia is what holds your muscles together. If we didn't have fascia, we would be a lump, a big blob on the ground. So it kind of allows us to engage the muscles, walk around, and have everything kind of stick to the bones. So once those things get very, very tight, it doesn't allow